What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Shani, and welcome back to the Women's Palace. So today I want to talk to my ladies, I want to talk to my women, I want to talk to my girls. You know, it is the Women's Palace, so I really do want to start speaking more to my female audience. And you know, I do want you guys to engage, you feel me? Because I will always say God has not given us the same brain. We won't think the same, you feel me? But I want us as women to come together and be able to speak about different perspectives. We all can learn from each other, okay? So I really want to just talk about this time in my life that actually changed my life, and I want to give it to y'all just in case you're going through a situation with a man, you know, in a toxic relationship. My situation was a toxic relationship with a narcissist, so that was double whammy. But in that sense, I want to be able to give you a technique that I use to help me be able to gain the strength to actually really just let it go and move forward. So let's get into it. So my grandma actually gave me this, and she had told me, now if you ever been in a toxic relationship, you know it's back and forth. It's always got good, and you got this big blowout, and then you got this big blowout, and then you break up for a couple weeks or whatever the case may be, and then you back together. So it's a lot of up and downs, right? And my grandma, I was talking to my grandma, and you know, your family after a while, they just get over it. Like, I ain't got nothing to say about this relationship. And she was just at a point where she just told me, like, stay in the situation until you tired. And I think she said her mama told her this. She was saying, like, stop the back and forth, because you got to understand, when you do the back and forth thing, you're giving yourself a break. So you're prolonging out something that can literally be eliminated if you just stay all in. And what do I mean by staying all in? Stop the breakup. Stop going back and forth. Really commit to putting your all into this relationship if you want it to work. Because like I said, you doing the back and forth, that's giving yourself a break. So you're prolonging out something, right? And in this sense, when she told me that, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try it. Now, when I say go all out, like stay in. Like, really put your best foot forward. Because I'm gonna tell you what I did. I put my best foot forward. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna keep breaking up with him. I'm not gonna keep, you know, you go out and do your way and talk to people, and I'm gonna go out and do my way and talk to people, and then we're gonna find ourselves back together. No, it was like, okay, we're gonna stick to this regardless of the arguments, regardless of what comes. We're going to stick to this to see if we can make it work. Because if it's going to work, it's going to work this time. Now, when I say give it your all, it don't matter if he's not giving it his all. You know, because sometimes we get caught up, I'm going to do what he do, and if he want to lie and do this, no. Because you got to understand what's going to take place. You are proving something to yourself. You're proving, okay, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna love this man. I'm gonna give him my all. And if it don't work, when I leave, it ain't gonna be no coming back. Because in your mind, you already gave it your all. And if it didn't work when it gave it your all, why you think it's gonna work when you come back? It's not. You feel me? And this is where it really worked, because I gave it my all. And you get tired. Like, you got to get to a point, you give it your all to the point you get tired. Like, you get so tired, you be like, I can't deal with this no more. Because now you're not giving it a break. Now you're not in the high phase where you get back together and y'all good for at least about a couple days because y'all ain't seen each other. The excitement's up, like, oh, I'm missing him. Y'all forgot why y'all broke up in the first place because y'all miss each other. Now you're all in, and you just really experiencing this person, and you know what? I don't have no break. I'm tired. And I'll just let y'all in on a little bit of really what I went through. It was just like a lot of just arguments and a lot of negativity and a lot of this and a lot of that. And this was actually around the time that I lost my father. And one thing I ain't never wanted was sympathy or none of that, but I just kind of felt like it was just like, give me a little break. But he was the type, he want to argue. Like, I didn't want to argue, he wanted to argue. He was the type, I want to get my point across, and this and this and that, and I don't see no other side. Now, if you know a narcissist is only one-sided, and they only think about themselves. And it was just like, you feel me? I was tired. Like, one thing I learned about communication, people get so caught up on communication, you also need to know comprehension. Because why are you wasting your energy? Why are you wasting your breath to a person that can't even comprehend what you're saying, that don't even want to see it? You feel me? And that's where I was getting at to a point in my life. And this is where I feel God used my grandma and spoke that to me. Because once you be able to go all in and put it all in and lead, like put all the BS to the side and really just try to commit to see if this is going to work. This is a thing. Like, I had to realize this, what I started was a thing between me and me. It wasn't really about him, but it was, okay, if this man is going to be a part of my life, it's going to work this time. Or if not, I'm showing myself that it's not going to work and I need to let it go forever. Okay? So I was putting myself in this situation. It was just, I just felt myself like going into a depression. And sometimes you have to fall so you can meet God. And that's one thing I had realized, like, it was a blessing in this lesson. And this is why I really want to speak to women, to be able to understand, if you are in a toxic relationship, and it doesn't necessarily have to be with a narcissist, go all in, because you are proving something to yourself and you are putting yourself in a situation. Now, if you put yourself in a situation where you do get into depression, you shouldn't be with nobody that puts you in depression. That's number one, showing yourself you can't be with this man. So I found myself in a depression. I was just telling him, like, you know, I can't even grieve my father because it's just so much chaotic, like, with this man. You know, he want to argue and I don't care. I want to get my point across. So I just got to a point where I was tired. And this is the point that you need to get to. I was tired. I was tired beyond words. And one thing I had learned too, keep people out of your business. One thing about being in a toxic relationship, a lot of people know, because you always in the ups and downs and you really feel like you done and you telling everybody your business and then you back with them. No, I had got to a point, no matter how mad that I got, I kept my mouth shut. I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep this between me and him. I'm not putting nobody in our business. And I was tired this one time. Like, I was just so tired. It was this big blowout, the police. I was just so tired, to the point I just didn't even have enough. I didn't even have the energy to say anything. So I was just quiet. And my grandma called. And let me tell you, God will always use somebody to speak to you. Like I said, I believe God used her to tell me that saying, and I did it. Now that I'm at this point where I'm tired, like, literally, she called. And one thing, the people close to you gonna know when something's wrong, even if you don't say anything. So she was talking, and, you know, I'm just not being myself, just, oh yeah, this and that. She said, Shanice, what's wrong? And I just broke down, because I was just so tired. And this is where I feel like God allows us to get to this point so you can see. Sometimes love blinds us. Sometimes we be ignorant because we want a thing so bad. We want this image so bad that we're willing to put ourselves in mental prison or put ourselves in depression just to have it. But you got to get to a point where you got to choose yourself first. And I just broke down. And let me tell you why I know this was nothing but God. Because like I said, I stopped telling people my business. And even though as I'm breaking down, I heard bits and pieces of the story, not the full story or really what's going on. I'm just tired. Like, you know, you feel me? Like, I just can't seem to get up. Like, you know how you feel like you in a mentally sunken place or internal sunken place, you know, had lost my father. I'm trying to get up from that. It's this relationship, you know, and she just started like, God just started flowing through her. Let it go, Shanice. You can't be with somebody that can't support you mentally, physically, emotionally, none of that. Like, and in this sense, this is how I knew it was God, because I didn't tell her this. She's telling me stuff that I'm going through literally in this season of me trying to give it my all that I never told her. And that's how I knew it was God speaking to me. Like, let it go. And it pierced my soul. It literally pierced my soul to the point it was like, it's a wrap. Now, let me tell you, I know as women, we leave mentally before we leave physically. So I still kind of dealt with him like 2 or 3 days after. But this was over the phone. Like, it wasn't like in person. So he would call. But in this point, it's just like, yeah, nay. Like, I didn't even want to talk about the arguments. I just wanted to leave it alone. Like, it was just like a yeah, nay, babe. Like, you know, stuff like that. So it wasn't like, I feel looking back, it was just me processing that it was over. Like, you know, sometimes you gotta process, this thing is over. Like, you know, somebody I done been with 8 years since elementary school, on and off. This is done. Like, you know, and it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. I can say I wasn't mad. And that's one thing you gotta understand. When you are done, you are not trying to explain yourself. anymore. Like, I felt like it was just a silence. I didn't have the words to say. I just knew I was done. It was just me processing it while I was still talking to him for the 2 or 3 days. And I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad at him. You know, I was just more really hurt and like just really taking it in. Like, this is what my life, just taking in the fact that this life I created in my mind is not, that's not the life I'm living anymore. Like, you know, you got to be able to kill out what you thought. And that's what it was, you know. And just one day he called and I was like, I'm not doing this no more. And a year later, like, it's have been a year and some change, I still feel that way. And don't get me wrong, I don't have no hate in my heart towards him. God has healed me and I'm continuing to heal, because, you know, healing is a process. But I don't have no hate in my heart towards that man. I pray for him. I wish him the best. Like, I pray God heals him and whatever the case may be, because we still do have a son together. And I would love for my son to be a part of his life. And, you know, they have their relationship, but that chapter with me and him is closed, like completely closed. No going back. I see forward. I don't look back. You know, the things that I went through with this man, I take as lessons. You know, that's where I really be able to understand where God says he make all things work together for your good. Can I sat here and comprehend the things that I went through, the abuse, the emotional abuse, all this stuff? No, but I take the lessons with it. You know, I take that. I know what I don't want I know what I don't want in a relationship. And I hear a lot of people say a person can't give advice if they only been in bad relationships. I think that is a lie, because a person can tell you what not to accept in a relationship. They can tell you which way not to go in a relationship, because they didn't been there and they did that, you know. And I say that because in order to know what a healthy relationship is, you first have to know what's an unhealthy relationship. You feel me? So in that sense, I have gained so much knowledge. I have learned through my mistakes. I have learned, because this is a two-way street. I'm not sitting here blaming him, because baby, I was a hot mess too. Like, let's be clear. But at the end of the day, I was always genuine, you know. And we're human. We're not perfect. But at the end of the day, you have to get to a point where you have to love yourself first, you know. And I couldn't even say it's really love, because I didn't love myself. You know, it's more of lust. We go off feelings. We go off of this image. And I really do sit here and say, like, go all in, because you are proving this is a you versus you battle. God had to make me realize it was an Adam before it was an Eve. God wants you whole and complete before he wants you to go into a relationship. So if a relationship is tearing you down, you don't think he cared for you. You think he cared more about that relationship than he do you individually? No, God wants you whole. God wants you complete. And sometimes it's hard for us to learn. So God will allow us to fall straight on our face so we can meet him. God is close to the broken in spirit. I can really say, after, like, really, I got connected more with God when my father died. He died in October of 2019. But I was still in this relationship. So it was like I was really kind of like leaning on God, but I was also kind of leaning on, like, you know, it wasn't really like I really like found God when I ended that relationship. Like, I had to, because at this point it was nothing but me. And sometimes I feel like we can be codependent on people because we don't want to face ourselves. We don't want to look at ourselves in the mirror, because it's this hurt. It's like we all have been through some type of trauma. We're in generational curses, you know, and it's hard to sometimes face these feelings. It's hard to be, you know, am I gonna, you know, I'd rather just be occupied with doing other stuff. I want to feel needed with that. But you got to understand that you need you. Your inner child needs you. Your inner child needs to be healed, you know. And you got to get to a point where, okay, if I want this so bad, because that's where I was at. I had a son. I really wanted my family. Like, God knows. And that's how I know you got to get to a point where you and God know, God, I gave him my all. So I don't feel sorry for not going back. I don't feel sorry for the crying. I don't feel sorry, because I know I gave him my all and it didn't work. And if it didn't work then, why is it going to work now? It's not. It's not. You feel me? But you got to be able to prove to yourself. That situation I had put myself in, it was all about proving to myself, Shanice, if this man is going to be a part of your life, it's going to work or it's not. And you got to move forward, because you got to love you enough to be able to put you first. You know, sometimes we get caught up on is being selfish, but God had to make me realize you need to be selfish sometimes, because in order to give your best, you have to be your best. If you're pouring from a cup that's half empty, you're not even pouring out nothing. You're pouring out poison. You got to be filled. You got to be complete so you can overflow into other people's lives. So I need you whole. I need you complete. I need you to be able to be mentally okay. I don't need you to be torn down. You feel me? And I just got to a point, like I said, I was tired. And that really, really worked for me. And that's why I really want people to try this experience. Try this with yourself, you know, and don't go off of what he do. If he's half stepping and he doing that, take note. But you give it your all, because you know what you are doing within yourself, and you don't need to tell him that. You don't need to tell him nothing. This is a you versus you battle. I'm going to sit here and tell myself I'm going to go all in. I'm going to stop the breaking up, going back and forth. And no, we're going to be in this. You mad, go in the other room. You mad, go take a walk. But we're going to come back to this, because if this is going to work, it's going to work with me giving it my all. And if it don't, you're going to get fed up. You're going to get tired. I feel like a lot of people get fed up and tired. They prolong that out because they always give themselves a break. Like I said, we do the back and forth. You giving yourself weeks to be able to be like, okay, maybe we can work out. I miss him. No, it's a creature of habit. Your body misses the chemical balance that it releases. You don't miss that man. But you got to be able to process. Okay, I'm giving it my all, and because I was tired. Like, I can't even articulate the words. I was so tired. I stopped breaking up. I stopped doing all, but when I say I was mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, I was drained. I was tired. And you need to get there. You need to get there, because you got to be able to, you know what, process in my mind, this ain't working. A man that God got for me ain't going to be doing this to me. It ain't going to be draining me, but rather giving me life, pushing me closest to the Father. You got to be able to take this in and be like, okay, this is not going to work. I gave it my all. So now that I'm walking away, I'm not looking back, because you collected everything you needed to move forward. Why are you looking back if you got everything you need to not look back? So you got to get to a point where you tired. You got to get to a point where you like, no. That's how I can stand here and say 10 toes down, a year and some change, almost about a year and 6 months, that I don't even want to, like, I don't even have the urge. I don't want to go back. Like, I'm looking forward, still looking forward, never going back. I told you the only thing, we have a connection with my son, and the only thing that I want is for him to be a great father to his son. Co-parenting relationship. I would love to be friends with him as far as on that level to make our co-parenting great. But I told y'all that relationship with me and him, that chapter is closed, sealed, and locked, and never coming back again. Even if God was to change him, because some people get caught up on, well, what if he changed? I'd be happy for him. Like, my grandpa was like, God can change him and y'all can be. I don't want that. Like, even if God changed him, like, you know, you got to understand, if God changes that man or whatever and you want him back, that's good for you. But me, even if God changed that man, I pray that he find him a woman that will be great for him, that can help him, elevate him, help him to be a great father for his children, somebody that I can feel at peace with, allowing my son to go around. Like, that's what I pray for. I don't pray for God, let us get, no, because I'm past that. And I feel like that experience, that activity that God used my grandma to speak to me, worked, because it got me to this point. I don't see no, oh, let's be together. No, that chapter has closed and it's been sealed, and I just take the lessons. I don't even think about the negativity. I just think about the lessons. I just think about, you know, moving forward. The man that God got for me ain't you, and it ain't no hard feelings, it ain't no disrespect, it ain't no beef. You feel me? I don't have no hatred in my heart towards that man. I just know what's for me. Like I said, life is all about you and God. And you got to understand that God wants you an individual before he wants you with a relationship. So I really want you guys to try this exercise. If you are in a toxic relationship, you feel me, really get to this point. And I pray that it was a blessing for you guys, just like it was a blessing for me. And you probably be like, well, what's a blessing in being in depression? What's a blessing in being in the pain? That you meet God. And God heals you from all of that. God reveals to you. God had to make me realize we get caught up on people doing us wrong when that's a blessing in disguise. God allowed that person to show their true colors so you can see how they are. It was never going to work. But yet it prolonged out years and years because we kept going on and off instead of going all in to realize this was never going to work in the first place. The on and off was just the excitement. I'm coming back, he looking good, I'm looking good, like, hold on. No, this man ain't worth nothing. What am I here for? Because you prolonging out your process. Commit yourself to going all in. And like I said, put your best foot forward. That way you have no regrets on your end. Sometimes when you walk away, you need no regrets. You need, oh, this ain't it. I'm tired. It ain't gonna work. And that's fine, you know? So I really hope this was a blessing. As I always say, go out and be a light in this dark world. Continue to strive and try it. And let me know in the comments what y'all feel.